Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm gonna do my first ever Magic the Gathering Commander deck tech, and today's deck tech is gonna be one of my favorite commanders, Emmara, Soul of the Accord. So Emmara, Soul of the Accord is a 2/2 elf cleric creature and has the ability whenever you tap her, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. So basically the idea behind the deck is just creating as much tokens as you can and synergize with those tokens, and hopefully there will be enough to kill your opponent. Okay, let's start with basic lands. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 forests. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plains. Okay, now let's go to the non-basic lands. Relic Quarry Tower. We'll be drawing a lot of cards with this deck, so this will help keep your hand quite full because you will have no maximum hand size. Mirrored Landscape. So this is very good in the beginning, where you can tap 2, sacrifice it, and search for 2 basic lands. So a bit of ramp, and if you get it in the late game, you can just use its generic mana. Silencia Sanctuary. So this is basically a bit of ramp and mana fixing. Command Tower, Commander staple. Maze of It. Basically protection against those big creatures attacking you, or Voltron strategies. Blighted Woodland, again, in early game you can use it to ramp. Sungrass Prairie, mana filtering. Survivor's Encampment. This is a very good card with this deck. So basically you tap it, you tap an untapped creature, and you add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So this is mana fixing and synergizes very well with Emmara. You can tap her to create a token and avoid attacking with her and getting her killed in combat. Some Better Grove, same thing, mana fixing. So, Holdout Settlement, tap the same thing as the other tap land, tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So basically synergizes very well with Emmara, help you create tokens. Evolving Wilds, tap, sacrifice, search for a land. Genevieve Township, quite good in the late game when you have a board full of 1/1 tokens. You pop this, pump them up by 1, and get some extra damage through. Okay, this is a manland, Slithering Witherwood. Again, mana fixing, and will create you a 3/4 elemental creature, just in case you're in a pinch, you need a block, or get some damage in the early game. Weirwood Lodge, last land. Basically add 1 generic mana and tap target elf. Is used to basically untap Emmara and get more than 1 activation of her per turn. Okay, let's go into the creatures. So first creature we have Elish Norn. This is very good to pump up your tokens. Keep in mind you're going to generate a large number of tokens with this deck, so this could be a win con. It will go down, pump all your tokens, and go through and give your opponent some great damage. And also you can use it when other opponents are using token strategies to kill off their 1/1 tokens. Shana Sazai's Legacy basically has Shroud and gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. With the number of tokens created in this deck, this will get very huge. So, Mobile Garrison, Artifact, a vehicle. Whenever it attacks, you untap target artifact or creature you control, any crew. So basically this is very good in the early game, where you will have Emmara out, you crew this with Emmara, you attack, untap Emmara, and then tap her again with another ability. That way you will get 2 activations out of Emmara. So, Thunderhoof Bailot, Trample, 5/5, Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, Thunderhoof Bailot gets +2/+2, and other creatures you control get +2/+2 and have Trample. So this could be another win con in the deck. Basically just get out a huge number of tokens, put this down, they get pumped by +2/+2 and have Trample. Trostani, Serenzia's Voice. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So this serves 2 purposes. One, which is a bit of life gain, and with the number of tokens entering and creatures entering in this deck, you will gain a large number of life. And with Populate, you can basically do more token creation. Mentor of the Meek. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. The amount of tokens you'll be creating again will be large, and this could enable a lot of card draw during the game. Previous Great Worm. So this has a very steep casting cost, which is 10 over here, but it has this cool ability Convoke, which you can tap your creatures, and many times when I'm playing this card, I can play it for free basically. And you will have a 16 indestructible and a great blocker, great damage dealer if the opponent doesn't have any champ blockers, so quite nice. Okay, it's one of my favorite cards in the deck, the Dershoot Dryad. It has Ascend, so basically you will get Ascend if you have 10 or more permanents in the game. At the beginning of each upkeep, create 1/1 separate link creature token, and separate link creatures you get +2/+2 as long as you have the city's blessing. So basically you will create, in a 4-player commander game, you will create almost 4, I think, exactly, not almost, 4 creature tokens every turn cycle. And again, with the number of tokens created in this deck, you will easily get Ascend. Very cool card. Stonebrook Schoolmaster has the same ability as Emmara, but instead of creating a 1/1 white soldier creature token, you create a 1/1 Merfolk Wizard creature token. It's here for token generation in the deck. Okay, so Mirror Entity. So it has Changeling, and when you tap X, until end of turn, creatures you control have base power, toughness X and X, and gain all creature types. So the way you play this is you have a huge board state of tokens, put this down, tap, pump your tokens with +5/+5, +6/+6, and you will be able to go through with a huge amount of damage. Okay, Knight, Captain of Eos. So this is a bit of protection and token generation in the deck. When Knight, Captain of Eos comes into play, put 2/1/1 soldier creature tokens into play. Tap 1, sacrifice a soldier, prevent all combat damage to be dealt to you this turn. It's basically like a fog, and keep in mind that the tokens created by Emmara are soldiers, so this will synchronize very well and protect you against any creature-based decks. I don't need to explain this one. This is obviously a win con in the deck. Some people might want to include it, some people might not. It's an expensive card, and some people are salty when we play this deck, but this card, but I love it. So basically it comes down for 8, it has haste, and when it comes down, creatures you control gain trample and +6/+6 until the turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. Again, with the number of tokens created in this deck, this is really, really powerful. Okay, so this is kind of some ramp. When this creature comes down, each creature you control basically gets tap, add 1 green to your mana pool. This also synergizes well with Emmara because it enables her to tap for mana and give you a token. Again, this one is tap an untapped creature you control, put 1/1 green separate creature into play. So this again synergizes well with Emmara. You tap her, tap Emmara, and create 2 tokens in one action. Voice of Resurgence. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, or when Voice of Resurgence dies, put a green and white elemental creature token on the battlefield with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. So again, this will create a heavy beater, and will sometimes deter some opponents from targeting you. Mirror Revitalized Duelist. Again, this is a creature that whenever Mirror Revitalized Duelist attacks, each opponent can block with more than one creature this combat. As long as Mirror Revitalized Duelist is tapped, no more than one creature can attack you each combat. So it's used to prevent opponents from blocking you, and you will be able to get through with your huge number of tokens. And when tapped, it acts as a defense and against other token creation creature decks or decks with a large number of creatures. Smuggler's Topter, again very good in the early game. Crew 1, tap Emmara, create a token. Flying, whenever it attacks you basically loot. You may draw a card, if you do, discard a card. Sky Sovereign Console Flagship, again a vehicle. Use it to tap, to be able to tap Emmara if you're able to get her with 3 power or more, or have another creature with power 1 and her, and you're able to tap her, crew this for 3. When it comes down or attacks, deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, so we can get rid of some pesky creatures or planeswalkers. And again, it's a 6/5 flying creature, so it's quite powerful herself. Trostani Discordant, basically an anthem for other creatures. When she enters the battlefield, you create 2 soldier tokens with lifelink, almost same as ability as Emmara, but not a tap on and enter the battlefield. And at the beginning of your end step, each player gains control 4 creatures they own, so this is a good protection against creature stealing decks. Oketra Tetru. Double Strike Indestructible. Oketra can't attack or block unless you control at least 3 other creatures, which is, we almost meet that requirement almost all the time, as you create huge number of tokens. Tap 4, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with Vigilance. So this is basically inside here as a good blocker, even as a good attacker. Very good stats. Hero of Bladehold. Better Cry. Whenever this creature attacks, each attacking creature you control gets +1/+0 at the end of turn. So when you have a huge board, this will pump up your creatures and enable you to get a huge number of damage through. Whenever she attacks, you put 2 1/1 soldier creature tokens on the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So also a very good token creation. Another favorite card of mine, Archangel of Tune. So it has flying lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 creature on each creature you control. So you will, with 1 attack, and if you attack with multiple creatures with Emmara, remember that the tokens Emmara creates have lifelink. They will be pumped up, and you will be able to get through a huge number of damage and gain a lot of life. Okay, that's all the creatures we have. We're gonna start with enchantments, basically Paralives. What this does is basically doubles all the tokens you create. Presence of Gond, you put this on Emmara, and it enables her to tap. You tap Emmara, and you put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token into play. And this will enable you to create 2 tokens, one that Emmara does, and one that this card does. Growing Ranks, basically at the beginning of your upkeep, create another token, if you have a token already in play. Cryptolite Rite, this is also very good in the early game. Creatures you control have add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So it synergizes well with Emmara. You'll be able to tap her, and any creature she controls will basically become dorks. So they will be able to give you mana and ramp you very well. Quest for Renewal. Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, you may put a quest counter on Quest for Renewal. As long as there are 4 or more quest counters on Quest for Renewal, untap all creatures you control during each other player's unstep. untap step. So with this, it's very powerful. As you're seeing, there's a lot of ways to tap and untap creatures you control and create more tokens. And with this, you can create those tokens on every opponent's step. Getter's Crusade. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Again, huge number of creatures entering the battlefield. This will pump all your creatures quite fast. Mirari's Wake. Creatures you control get +1/+1, so basically an anthem effect. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produces, so basically a mana doubler. Conclave Tribunal. Can be cast for Convoke. Again, tap your creatures, pay for its mana cost. Many of the times I play this for free. When it enters the battlefield, exile target permanent an opponent controls, and the Conclave Tribunal leaves the battlefield. So basically, removal. Luminarch Ascension. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if you didn't lose life this turn, you may put a quest counter on Luminarch Ascension. Tap 1 generic and 1 white, create a 4/4 white NG creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if Luminarch Ascension has 4 or more quest counters on it. So if you do this at the beginning on your second turn, on your second round, you will start second turn round of all the table, you will be able to start creating 4/4 white NG creature tokens. Really quite powerful. Angelic Exaltation. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. This is like similar to the mechanic Exalted, but it's on a enchantment, which is much more difficult to remove. With the number of creatures created here, you can, for example, use it sometimes to attack with 1 token to avoid everything being destroyed, and that 1 token gets pumped up really huge. I get a huge number of health and remove a huge chunk of player's health. Very good, very powerful. Nature's Chosen, very old card. Basically, in a nutshell, what it does is you enchant your creature and you will be able to tap and untap that creature once per turn. So this enchant creature, when enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchant creature has add 1 mana of any color. So mana fixing, mana ramping, and tapping enabler for Emmara. Anointed Possession, again, doubling all the tokens you create with Emmara and any other token creator in the deck. Beastmaster Ascension, another win con. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension. As long as Beastmaster Ascension has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. So how I play this usually is I wait until I have a really good board state with good number of tokens. More tokens needed, enough tokens needed to trigger this clause over here. Put this down, attack, and win. Grave of Subdual. This is a bit of control in the deck. So it has tap and untapped creature you control, tap target artifact or creature. You can tap your creatures to either tap their artifacts or tap down their creatures to prevent them from attacking. This is very good also with the other card, which is called Quest for Renewal, I think the name, which allows you to untap your cards. So you basically will be able to tap down all the creatures on every turn. Evolutionary Leap. Sacrifice a creature, reveal your cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in random order. So basically you sacrifice your tokens and find all those really good creatures you have in your deck. Aura Shards, another very powerful card many people hate playing against. So whenever a creature comes into play under your control, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. With the number of tokens created, you will basically wipe the board of all enchantments and artifacts. Okay, another favorite card of mine, Divine Visitation. This was basically the inspiration for creating this deck. When I first got this card, I said, what deck is very good to go with this card, and immediately I thought of Emmara. So basically, if one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white ancient creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created. Quite powerful, or tokens that you create will be transformed to 4/4 angels with flying and vigilance. Very good. Second harvest, basically for each token you control, put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of that permanent. So basically doubling all your creatures. Okay, another very good card. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name. So basically put X 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach onto the battlefield, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn by non-spider creatures. So unless the other opponent is playing spider tribal or something like that, this most of the time will save you from dying, and at the same time creating you a huge number of creatures. I lost count of the number of times that I won and saved games with this card. Really amazing. March of the Multitudes. So basically Convoke. I already explained what the ability is. Create X/1/1 soldier creature tokens with lifelink. When there are many ways to generate a huge amount of mana in this deck, and this could be a win con also. You tap this right before your turn, create a huge number of tokens and attack the next turn. Very good card. Again, we're down to instants. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that we're starting on instants, but you may got the idea. Enlightened Tutor. Basically, pay 1 mana, search your library for an artifact or enchantment card and reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your library and put the revealed cards back on top of it. So basically a tutor for artifacts and enchantments. Chord of Calling, Convoke again. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana X or less and put it into play. Most of the time I use this to search for Greater Hoof Behemoth, put it into play and win the game. Or get any other creature you need to react to whatever the opponent is doing. Very good card. Final of Devastation. Search your library or graveyard for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it on the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is 10 or more creatures you control, get +6/+X and gain haste until of turn. So very good creature card. You can either reanimate a creature from the graveyard that you may need in a pinch, either use it to search for a win con like one of the behemoths, or tap enough mana in it to get the Greater Hoof Behemoth effect out of it. So obviously this is a win con in the deck again. Harvest Season, search your library. Okay, we're starting sorceries here, I forgot to mention. Search your library for up to X basic lands cards where X is the number of tapped creatures you control, and with those creature cards on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So very good mana ramping. Alright, so let's go to the board wipes. So we have Convoke, destroy all non-token creatures. This is very good, it becomes very cheap to cast, sometimes even for free, and destroys all the creatures your opponent has and keeps your tokens. This also could be used as a win con in the deck. Destroy all non-token creatures, go through with the huge number of creatures you control and decimate your opponent. So, enter the Angels. So as you can see, this has a very steep casting cost, but this has the miracle mechanic. Basically the miracle mechanic is if you draw this card as your first card you've drawn this turn, you may cast it for its miracle cost instead of its original cost. And what it basically does is put X for white creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. Another board wipe. Put X/1/1 white soldier creature tokens into play. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. Sidewide Bust. Destroy all creatures with toughness 4 or greater. Okay, we're starting the artifacts here. Soaring, because why not? Ramp. Another ramp cards. I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. Tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So again, it synergizes well with Emmara and enables you to create more tokens. Throne of the God Pharaoh. Basically, at the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creatures you control. This can win you the game either when you're not able to attack because the other opponents have either below 4 effects or have a huge number of creatures themselves. You can combine this with one of those enchantments to tap 4 mana, tap all your creatures, and at the end of the turn each opponent will lose life equal to the number of creatures you have. The number of tokens created here, you can easily make your opponents lose 10, 15 or even 20 life each turn. Very good card. Scar Clamp, card draw. So basically attach this to one of your soldier tokens. The soldier token dies immediately because it gives the creature +1/-1. Whenever the creature dies, you draw 2 cards. Sword of Feast and Famine, equipped creature +2/+2 and has protection from black and from green. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control. Very good card to have, very powerful. Paradise Mantle goes down for free. You can attach it to Emmara. Equipped creature has add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Tap. So again, synergizes very well with Emmara, especially in the early game. Honor Worn Shaku, add 1 to your mana pool, tap and untap legendary permanent you control, untap and untap this card again. So basically you can get 2 activations per turn of this, and tap Emmara to get a token. Not a bad deal. Lightning Greaves, basically attach and give your commander haste and Shroud. Okay, that's a couple of cards. Going to Planeswalkers, okay. Hotly Radiant Champion, so basically +1, put a loyalty counter on Hotly Radiant Champion for each creature you control. Again, if you have a huge number of creatures, which is easy with this deck, you can pump her quite a huge amount on exactly after you put her down. -1, target creature +X gets +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So again, the exalted mechanic. And -8, you get an emblem whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Many of the times, almost every time I use this card, I'm able to trigger her ultimate and keep her alive also. Okay, last 2 Planeswalkers. For Elise, then Noah's Fury, +2, create a 1/1 green elf creature token with add 1 to your mana pool, so basically token creation and ramp. -2, destroy target artifact or enchantment, good for artifact or enchantment removal, and draw -6, draw a card for each green creature you control. Last card, Elspeth Sun's Champion, +1, put 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens on the battlefield, -3, destroy creatures with power 4 or greater, and -7, you get an emblem with creatures you control, get +2/+2 and have flying. Okay everyone, so that was my deck tech on Emmara Soul of the Accord. Hope you like it. So basically try to get this commander down by turn 2 and start creating as much tokens as possible. Hope you enjoyed this deck. If you create it, let me know if I can change anything. Please subscribe and like our video. This is the first of many upcoming deck techs. Thank you very much.